Back in this series, we are now going to look at the models in OpenAI. So we have already seen what is DaVinci, Text Query, Babbage, Ada, and we also have the previous versions of DaVinci 1, DaVinci, Curie Instruct, and others. And in Codex, we have two models, and we have always have wondered what they can do and when to use what. And in this video, we are now going to look at each one of them and where they are useful. So basically, the family of OpenAI models are you have GPT-3, so a set of models that can understand and generate natural language. Codex is a set of models that can understand and generate code, including natural language to code. And context filter, it's a fine-tuned model that can detect whether text is safe or unsafe. So having said that, let's actually come back here. So GPT-3 can understand and generate natural language code. And uh, if you look at this chart, it would basically help us understand. So DaVinci is the most capable uh, model which can actually solve any problem, and it is used for complex intent, cause and effect summarization for audience. And Curie, it is extremely powerful yet fast, and it is capable of many nuanced tasks like sentiment analysis, summarization. It is also good at answering questions like Q&A in general. And basically, these are the tasks it can do: language translation, complex classification, text sentiment, and summarization. And Babbage, it can perform straightforward tasks like simple classification. It is also quite capable when it comes to semantic search and like moderate classification, semantic search classification. Ada is the fastest model, and it's ideal for parsing, simple classification, address correction, and keywords. It can be if you want to make ADA much more faster and effective if by providing better context. And so let's actually say that let me open that, give me 1 minute. So yeah, so if we actually get into here, and you can, I'll attach this documentation here. You can actually play around and see which model is the best for you. Here's an example of Curie. So let's do one example here. Rest I will provide the links and you can do it yourself. So let's take the Curie one and open it in Playground here. Cool. So what it says is this example illustrates is capable of getting important information from text, very useful for variety of reasons, and turing technical documents into bullet points, extracting informations, and this. So similarly, let's run this to see what it can do. Cool. So it was able to generate the bullet points for us. And let's also look at one report generation. So I will attach this links here. So that should basically make it easier for you guys to play around with each model capability. And that covers the first, that covers this one here. And as we have already seen Codex, we have used Codex to generate a solution for a lead code problem in our previous example. So let's understand what Codex is. So it is a descendant of GPT model, but it's trained on GitHub datasets. So hence it understands code. So this, since it's trained on both natural language and billions of lines of public code from GitHub, and it is proficient in Python and dozen of other languages like JavaScript, Go, Perl, PHP, Ruby, Swift, TypeScript, SQL, and even Shell. So what can Codex do for us? It can turn comments to code. It can complete our next line or function, bring the knowledge to you, such as finding useful library for an API application, add comments, or rewrite the code for efficiency. So if we go back to where we were looking at here, right? Yeah. if we go back to codecs here and click on working on codecs in this link, so it will bring you to this. Here is a codecs sandbox. Or let's look at this one, right? So yeah, this one should generate a MySQL Python query, and let's run it to see how things go here. Create a JavaScript. No, we don't want this. Okay, so what I'm trying to generate this one, create random names in Python. Okay, cool. So if I pick code DaVinci 2 and let me type it here. Okay, so for some reason it's not taking the pre-generated query. Cool. So we got the SQL query back here. Similarly, you can play around with the other examples here. So there is best practices to follow. Start with a comment, data or a line, and similarly specify the language you want, like R, lang Python 3, and prompt codecs with what you want, like create a web page here, or if you want it in a specific framework, you can specify it. Like specifying code libraries will help codecs understand. So use A-frame version, or if you basically want to do scrape a website with Beautiful Soup, which version of Beautiful Soup you want it to use. So all this would be helpful for it to do its task. Similarly, create a Stripe customer in Python, or creating codecs or asking codecs to perform this task will produce a table like this. So yeah, you can do variety of things here, or if you want to write a unit test, you can say Python 3, define the function, and in unit test write def, it will generate it. So let's actually try this and see what it would do. So since we have done codecs, let me do this in code Cushman, see what it will do here. Cool. So it wrote a code for us. And basically that's what I had here. And I had more examples here. If you just click on the image, it should open the website for you. So I will be attaching this PDF and the link, whichever is sufficient to you, or whichever is of interest to you, you can go and pick up from there. And basically that's it. So the last one we are looking at in this is content filtering. So the idea here is, let's say you have a tweet, and if you want to detect the generated text could be sensitive or unsafe coming from the API, you can do it with content filtering. So recently you might have heard the news that Twitter laid off their entire spam control team or content management team. And people were like going berserk that how would Twitter be able to do that? That's a use case for this. So if this returns 0, that means the text is safe. If it returns 1, this means the text is sensitive, but it could be talking about sensitive topic such as political, religious, or about protected class such as race or nationality. 2 means it's just unsafe. That means the text contains profane language or hateful language, which it want to filter. So content filter aim is to detect the text generated that could be used for sensitive or unsafe coming from an API. It's currently in beta mode, has 3 ways of classifying text, which is termed as label descriptions. So, and like the model page I went over is here in the end, in the reference link. If you click on this, it should go there. And the code we went over is here, and the text is here. And let me go back to the page I was looking at to help you guys understand here. So if you go to context filter here, so here are a set of examples how you can play with context filter. So if you want to open this in, so the model name you have to specify here is context filter alpha. That's the model we will be listing. It's not in the playground. So if I go to playground, I don't see anything called context